"Can you pretend you're not with me tonight?" she asked while fixing her makeup. I said, "Okay," and drove her to the gala, dropped her off, went home, packed my things, and moved out. She called at midnight asking for a ride. I said, "Still pretending," and hung up. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I know how the title sounds. It sounds petty. It sounds like a knee-jerk reaction to a single bad night. But anyone who has been in a relationship with a climber knows that the end is never about one sentence. It's about the 1,000 sentences before it that you ignored because you wanted to believe they loved you. The sentence she said in the car was just the receipt. I'd already bought the product. Let me set the stage. I'm 34. I work as operations director for a mid-sized distribution company in Connecticut. I manage 15 people, coordinate with manufacturers across 3 states, and pull down $105,000 annually. It's steady, profitable, and to my ex-girlfriend Nicole Martinez, 29, incredibly boring. Nicole describes herself as a healthcare consulting specialist, which is LinkedIn code for medical administrative assistant trying to break into something more prestigious. For 3 years, I carried the mortgage on our suburban house in West Hartford. I paid the lease on the Audi Q5 she loved taking to yoga classes and networking events. I paid for the dinners she posted on Instagram, the weekend trips to Martha's Vineyard, and the designer scrubs she wore to hospital volunteer functions. In exchange, I was allowed to exist in the background of her aspirational life, a useful prop that kept the lights on while she waited for her real life to start. The night it ended, we were heading to the Connecticut Children's Medical Center annual gala. This was the big leagues for her. Board members, department heads, and crucially, Dr. Jonathan Mills, chief of cardiothoracic surgery, recently divorced, and exactly the kind of upgrade she'd been shopping for. She had spent 4 hours getting ready. She looked incredible. Navy blue gown, perfect hair, the kind of look that commands attention. But the energy in the Q5 was off. Usually, I'd be driving with one hand, holding hers with the other. Tonight, she was pressed against the passenger door, aggressively scrolling through LinkedIn, checking the attendee list. She kept sighing, looking at me, then looking back at her phone. "You're wearing that?" she asked, not looking up. I looked down at my charcoal suit, custom tailored from Men's Warehouse. "It's a suit, Nicole. It's fine. It's just very corporate," she muttered, finally locking her phone and pulling down the visor mirror to check her lipstick for the 10th time. "Dr. Mills isn't going to be wearing a suit. He's going to be in something more creative. You look like you're here to audit their books." Dr. Mills was the target, the prize, the guy with the 7-figure salary and the connections she wanted. I didn't say anything. I just kept driving. We were 5 minutes away from the Four Seasons. She snapped the visor shut and turned to me. The air in the car changed. It wasn't the comfortable silence of a couple. It was the tense silence of a manager about to deliver bad news. "Listen," she started, her voice dropping into that honey-sweet tone she used when she wanted something expensive. "This night is really huge for my career, like life-changing. I need to network seriously, okay?" "Okay," I said. "So network. I'm just there to support you." She bit her lip. "But the optics are tricky. If I walk in with a boyfriend, especially one who looks so settled, it kills the mystique. Men like Dr. Mills, they invest in possibility. They want to feel like they're discovering hidden potential. If I'm attached, I'm invisible." I felt a cold click in my chest. It was the sound of the last thread snapping. "So, what are you asking, Nicole?" She took a breath, smoothing her gown. "Can you pretend you're not with me tonight? Like, just for the gala. Park around the corner. Walk in 10 minutes after me. If anyone asks, we're just friends from work. Don't stand near me. Don't touch me. And definitely don't kiss me goodbye. Just let me be the star for a few hours. Please." She looked at me with those wide, expectant eyes, waiting for me to fold. Waiting for me to be the good guy who supports her dreams, even when those dreams involved erasing me. In the past, I would have argued. I would have felt hurt. I would have asked why I wasn't good enough. But tonight, nothing. No anger, no sadness, just clarity. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I wasn't looking at my partner. I was looking at a liability. I smiled, a genuine, calm smile. "Okay," I said. She blinked, surprised it was that easy. "Really? You don't mind?" "Not at all," I said. "I want you to get exactly what you're looking for tonight." She squealed and clapped her hands. "Oh my God, thank you. You're the best." She had no idea. I pulled up to the Four Seasons valet stand, but per her instructions, I drove past the entrance and idled near the corner. The hotel glowed like a beacon against the Hartford skyline. "Okay, give me 10 minutes," she said, unbuckling her seatbelt. She checked her reflection one last time. She didn't say, "I love you." She didn't even say, "See you inside." "Don't come in until 8:15, she commanded. Then she opened the door, stepped out into the October night, and walked toward the entrance without looking back. She immediately put on her camera face, waving to someone in line, transforming instantly into the person she wanted to be. I watched her disappear through the velvet ropes. Then I put the Q5 in drive, made a U-turn, and drove home. The drive back was the quietest 25 minutes of my life. I turned off the radio. I needed to think tactically. I knew the layout of our house. I knew what was mine, what was hers, and what was technically ours but not worth the fight. People ask why I moved out if I was the one paying the mortgage. It's simple. Foreclosure takes months. Leaving takes 2 hours. I didn't want a confrontation. I didn't want to listen to her beg or scream or gaslight me into staying for one more month while she figured things out. I wanted to be gone. I wanted to be invisible. The money I'd lose on breaking the mortgage early was the price of my freedom. I parked in our driveway and walked through the front door. 8:35 p.m. She was probably just getting her first glass of champagne, scanning the room for Dr. Mills, thinking I was still circling the block, looking for parking. I walked into the house. It smelled like her perfume and the expensive candles I paid for. I went straight to our bedroom and pulled my 2 large suitcases from the walk-in closet. The rules of extraction, essentials only. Clothes, shoes, toiletries. High-value items, my watches, my laptop, my external drives. All my personal documents were already digitized. Irreplaceables. The photo of my grandfather, my signed first editions, my PlayStation 5. I moved with the efficiency of a logistics coordinator. I cleared my side of the closet in 15 minutes. Suits, shirts, jeans, folded and packed with the same methodical precision I use for warehouse operations. I cleared my nightstand. I went to the bathroom and swept my toiletries into a bag. I left the furniture. I left the TV. I left the kitchen appliances. That was all stuff. Stuff can be replaced. Self-respect cannot. 9:45 p.m. The bags were packed and lined up by the door. I sat down at the kitchen island and opened my banking app. We had a joint checking account for household expenses, mostly her using it for Whole Foods runs and spa appointments that were actually wine brunches with Melody. I transferred exactly 50% of the balance back to my personal savings. I left her share. I wasn't stealing. I was settling accounts. Then, I removed my credit card from her Uber account, her Amazon Prime, and the meal delivery apps she'd logged into my phone. Each removal felt like cutting a puppet string. 10:25 p.m. I carried the bags out to the Q5. I did one final sweep. The house looked weirdly normal, just slightly emptier. My side of the vanity was bare. My side of the bed was made. I didn't leave a note. A note implies there's something left to discuss. A note implies I wanted her to know why. I didn't need her to understand. The beauty of her request, "Pretend you're not with me," was that it gave me permission to make it reality. I placed my house key on the kitchen counter, right next to the empty bottle of wine she'd drunk while getting ready. I walked out, closed the door, and heard the deadbolt click. I got in the car, blocked her number, and drove to the Marriott downtown. I checked into an executive suite, ordered a bourbon, and sat by the window, looking out at the city lights. I checked the time, 10:55 p.m. She probably hadn't even noticed I wasn't there yet. She was too busy pretending. But the night was young, and karma was just waking up. I was on my second glass of Maker's Mark when my phone lit up. It was 12:47 a.m. I was sitting in a leather armchair in the hotel suite, watching the Hartford skyline. The silence in the room was luxurious. No reality TV blaring in the background. No complaints about my boring career. No passive-aggressive comments about my lack of ambition. Just peace. My phone had been buzzing intermittently since 10:30 p.m. Texts asking where I was, why I wasn't answering, and finally where the car was parked. I hadn't looked at any of them. I simply watched the screen glow and fade like a lighthouse, warning of a shipwreck I was no longer on. But at 12:47 a.m., the phone rang. It wasn't a text anymore. It was a call. I let it ring 4 times. I took a slow sip of bourbon. Then I swiped green and put it on speaker. "Where the hell are you?" Nicole's voice was a mixture of slur and panic. I could hear wind blowing into the microphone. She was outside. "Hello, Nicole," I said, calm, professional, like I was taking a customer service call. "Don't hello Nicole me," she screamed. "I've been standing outside for 30 minutes. The valet said the car isn't here. Did you move it? I told you to wait around the corner." "I didn't move it," I said. "I left." Silence on the line. Just the sound of wind and distant traffic. You left?" Her voice dropped an octave, shifting from anger to confusion. "What do you mean you left? You went to get gas?" "No, I went home." "You went home?" The panic was setting in now. "Why would you go home? You have the car. How am I supposed to get back? My heels are killing me and it's freezing." "Take an Uber," I suggested. "I can't," she snapped. "My phone is on 6% and the surge pricing is like $90. Just come pick me up. Hurry up. I'm cold." There was no please, no apology, just the demand for services rendered. "So," I asked, swirling the ice in my glass, "how was the networking? Did you close the deal with Dr. Mills?" I heard her sniffle. "Don't be a jerk. Jonathan is whatever. He's pretentious. He left with some pharmaceutical rep an hour ago. The whole gala was lame. I just want to go home. Come get me." There it was. Plan A had failed. The upgrade hadn't worked out. The rich doctor saw through the facade or found a newer, shinier toy. Now that the fantasy was over, she needed the safety net back. She needed the reliable guy to drive her home so she could complain about how unfair the world was. "I can't pick you up, Nicole," I said. "Why not? Are you drunk?" "No," I said, leaning back in the chair. "I'm just following your instructions." "What instructions? What are you talking about?" "In the car," I said. "You asked me to pretend I wasn't with you tonight. You said it was important for your career. You wanted to be single. You wanted to be available." "Oh my God," she groaned, the frustration peaking. "I meant for the party, you idiot. The party is over. You can stop pretending now." I looked at the city lights below, millions of people living their lives. I felt a profound sense of finality. "That's the thing, Nicole," I said softly. "I'm not pretending anymore. I'm actually not with you." "Stop joking," she warned, though her voice wavered. "It's not funny. Come get me." "I'm not joking. You wanted to be single. You succeeded. Congratulations." "Drew," she cried, desperation finally cracking the anger. "Please, I'm cold. Just come get me." "I'm still pretending," I said, and I hung up. I slept like a baby, the kind of deep, restorative sleep you only get when a massive weight has been lifted off your chest. I woke up at 8 a.m. to a notification center that looked like a war zone. 30 missed calls from Nicole, 11 missed calls from Melody, Nicole's best friend, 51 text messages. I ordered room service, eggs Benedict and coffee, and scrolled through the timeline of destruction while I ate. It was a fascinating case study in the 5 stages of grief. 1 a.m. Denial. "Pick up the phone. Stop playing games. I'm in an Uber and it cost me $92. You are paying for this." 1:45 a.m. Anger. "Where are your things? Why is the closet empty? Where is your PlayStation? Did we get robbed?" 2:15 a.m. Bargaining. "Drew, please call me. I'm scared. Why is your key on the counter? Did I do something wrong? We can talk about this." 3:30 a.m. Depression. "I can't stop crying. How could you do this to me? I love you. Please come home." 6 a.m. Acceptance. Rage. "You are a narcissistic psycho. Melody says what you did is emotional abuse, abandoning me downtown. I hope you die." I took a sip of coffee and opened the text from Melody. Melody was the ringleader of Nicole's friend group. single, bitter, and convinced that all men were trash. You are a piece of shit. Stranding a woman in the middle of the city at night, that is literal violence. She is distraught. You better fix this, or I'm blasting you on social media. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I simply took a screenshot of the text Nicole had sent me 3 weeks ago. Can you transfer the rent money early? I bought that bag for the event, so I'm a little short. Then I replied to Melody. She asked me to pretend we weren't together. I respected her wishes. Also, since you're so concerned, the mortgage is due on the 1st. It's in her name. Make sure she has it covered. Then came the logistics. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed with an email from the mortgage company, an automated notification that a payment was pending. I logged into the portal and removed my bank account as a payment method. Then, I logged into the shared utility accounts, power, internet, cable, all in my name. I didn't turn them off. That would be illegal in some states. But I scheduled a transfer of service or cancellation for 48 hours later. She had 2 days to put them in her name or learn how to live by candlelight. At noon, I finally saw the social media fallout. Nicole had posted a long, text-heavy Instagram story, white text on a black background. I usually don't post personal stuff, but last night was the scariest night of my life. Abandoned downtown by the person I trusted most, blindsided, heartbroken. It's crazy how you think you know someone. #survivor. It was a good spin. She was playing the victim perfectly. The comments were flooding in with support. Men are trash. You deserve better, queen. Stay strong. I felt a flash of irritation, but then I scrolled to the next story in my feed. It was from the medical center that hosted the gala, a recap reel. And there, in the background of a clip showing the DJ, was Nicole. She was leaning in close to Dr. Mills, laughing too hard, touching his arm. Mills looked bored. He was looking over her head, scanning the room. In the next clip, Mills was leaving with a stunning brunette who was definitely not Nicole. I didn't need to counter her narrative. The truth was already out there for anyone who cared to look. 4 days later, the real fallout hit. I received an email from Nicole. She was blocked on text, so she had to go formal. Subject: please read. Drew, I don't know where you are. I'm sorry about the party. I was stressed. I didn't mean it. But you have to pay the mortgage. The bank says it's overdue. I don't have it. You know I don't have it. If we don't pay, they're going to evict me. Please just pay this month and we can figure it out. I read it twice. This was the woman who told me I was boring, who told me I looked corporate, who thought she was destined for a life of luxury and high-status men. And here she was, realizing that her entire lifestyle was subsidized by the very man she was ashamed to be seen with. I hit reply. Hi, Nicole. I'm afraid I can't help. I'm currently saving my money for someone who is proud to be seen with me. You wanted to be independent. Independence starts with paying your own bills. Good luck with the brand. Sent. 4 months passed. My life had undergone a complete renovation. I found a new place, a condo in West End with a view of the Connecticut River. I bought the sectional I wanted. I started hitting the gym at 5:30 a.m. because I no longer stayed up late listening to someone complain about how hard it is to break into healthcare consulting with only an associate's degree. I was happier, calmer. My savings account was recovering rapidly now that it wasn't hemorrhaging money into Nordstrom and weekend spa retreats. I had joined a CrossFit gym and was actually making friends, real friends who weren't part of Nicole's social media ecosystem. I knew Nicole was struggling. Mutual friends, the few who took my side, told me she'd been forced to move back in with her parents in Waterbury after the foreclosure went through. The medical center had quietly stopped inviting her to volunteer. Events after word got around about her aggressive networking tactics at the gala. But narcissists don't fade, they reload. It happened on a Tuesday in February. I was walking out of my office building for lunch when I saw her. She was standing near the parking garage entrance, holding a large manila envelope. She looked different. The polish was gone. Her hair was in a messy bun that looked more, I haven't washed this in 4 days, than chic. She was wearing old yoga pants and a wrinkled cardigan that had seen better years. She spotted me and put on a brave, shaky smile. Hey, Drew. I stopped, keeping a safe distance. Nicole, what are you doing here? Some of your mail came to my parents' place. The forwarding address must have missed it. It looked like tax stuff. I didn't want you to get in trouble. She held out the envelope. It was junk mail from a credit card company. She knew it. I knew it. It was the mail excuse, the oldest trick in the book to force face-to-face contact. You could have just marked it returned to sender, I said, not taking the envelope. She lowered her hand, her eyes instantly filling with tears. It was a performance I had seen 100 times. I missed you, she whispered. I just wanted to see you. I checked my watch. I'm on a lunch break, Nicole. Can we just talk? 5 minutes. She stepped closer, invading my space. I messed up, okay? I know I messed up, but you have to understand the pressure I was under. I didn't want to hide you because I was embarrassed. I did it because I was trying to build a future for us. It was an impressive rewrite of history. You didn't do it for us, I said, my voice flat. You did it because you thought you could do better. You thought I was a stepping stone, and you were ready to jump to the next rock. But you slipped. That's not true, she insisted, wiping a tear. I love you. I've been miserable without you. Living with my parents it's humiliating. I just want to come home. I want us back. She reached for my hand. Her grip was desperate. I looked at her hand, then up at her face. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel vindication. I just felt tired. She wasn't missing me. She was missing the mortgage payments. She was missing the Q5. She was missing the safety net. I pulled my hand away gently. You don't miss me, Nicole, I said. You miss the logistics of me. What? You miss the bills getting paid. You miss the ride home. You miss having someone in the audience applauding your performance. But the seat is empty now, and I'm not buying another ticket. Drew, please. Keep the mail, I said, stepping around her. I have to get back to work. I walked away. She called my name twice, but I didn't turn around. I didn't pretend I didn't hear her. I just didn't care. 2 months later, I was attending our company's annual client appreciation dinner. It was held at the Hartford Club. Ironically, the kind of place Nicole would have killed to get into but could never afford on her own. I wasn't alone. Her name was Diana Webb. She was a healthcare executive I'd met at a supply chain conference in Boston. She was brilliant, driven, and refreshingly independent. She drove her own BMW, paid for her own drinks, and unlike Nicole, she didn't view me as a background character in her story. She was genuinely interested in logistics, asked thoughtful questions about supply chain optimization, and never once called my work boring. We were standing near the bar, laughing about something my regional manager had said. Diana had her hand resting comfortably on my arm. She leaned in to whisper something about the pretentious wine selection, her smile radiant and genuine. That's when I saw them working the event. It wasn't uncommon for struggling professionals to pick up catering gigs when student loans were due. Nicole and Melody were standing near the entrance, serving cocktails from silver trays. They were wearing generic black staff uniforms, ill-fitting slacks and white button-downs that had seen too many events. Nicole looked tired. Her feet were shifting uncomfortably in cheap flats. She was offering drinks to people who walked past her without making eye contact. She was finally invisible, just like she'd made me feel for 3 years. Then she looked up and saw me. She froze. The tray in her hand wobbled. She took in the scene, me in my tailored navy suit, the one she'd called too corporate, my boss patting me on the back, and Diana, beautiful, successful Diana, laughing and adjusting my tie with easy, affectionate familiarity. Nicole's eyes locked onto mine. Her mouth opened slightly. I could see the gears turning, the shock, the jealousy, the realization that I hadn't just moved out, I had moved up. She took a step forward as if she was going to approach me, as if she was going to try to leverage our past to get a foothold in this room. Drew, she mouthed. Diana noticed me looking. She followed my gaze to the catering staff. Do you know her? Diana asked, whispering in my ear. I looked at Nicole. I looked at the tray in her hand. I looked at the desperation in her eyes, begging for acknowledgement, begging for me to validate her existence in this room. I thought about the car ride. I thought about the request. Pretend you're not with me. I turned back to Diana and smiled, pulling her slightly closer. No, I said, loud enough for Nicole to read my lips. I don't think so. Just someone I used to know. I turned my back on her. I felt Diana squeeze my hand. We walked toward the terrace to watch the city lights spread out below us like possibilities. I didn't look back to see if Nicole was watching. I knew she was. But for the first time in years, I wasn't pretending anything. I was exactly where I was supposed to be, with someone who saw me as more than just a logistical solution to her problems. Life had taught me that sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate or cruel. Sometimes it's simply becoming the person you were meant to be without them. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.